Okay, let's get into this. It's quite a story. Imagine this. You're totally broke, backpacking, right? British seaside town,
Mm-hmm.
counting your last pennies, and your next meal literally depends on figuring out a rigged arcade game.
A game with movie star photos, no less.
Exactly. Then, fast forward a few years, you're having a pint with one of those movie stars from the
And
game.
he has no idea well, technically funded your breakfast all those years ago.
It sounds completely made up, doesn't it? But that's where our deep dive kicks off today.
Yeah, it's fascinating how something like that, a sort of small gamble from your youth, can just circle back.
Right, and end up shedding light on the character of someone you meet way later in a totally different world.
Absolutely.
So we're digging into the memories of Kenny Denton. It's from his book, There Ain't No Rules in Rock and Roll, My Life in the Music Industry,
Good title.
isn't it? And we're focusing on this really unexpected meeting he had with James Garner back in the early 80s.
And the idea is to kind of get past the Hollywood image.
Yeah, exactly, to see the actual person through Denton's eyes. Someone who saw him professionally, but also in these really sort of unguarded, casual moments.
Well, Denton's viewpoint is interesting, coming from the music industry side. Gives it a different flavor.
Definitely. He's not just a fan asking for an autograph. He's another professional watching Garner operate.
So what about that initial setup? What stood out to you there?
Well, it's 1981. He's at Studio 2. Denton's working on a recording session with James's daughter, Gigi Garner.
Okay.
And Denton, like pretty much everyone, really admired James Garner. So the thought of maybe meeting him was definitely there.
Yeah, you can sense that anticipation in the writing. Garner was, I mean, a true icon.
Yeah.
Meeting someone like that, it's a big deal.
And then completely out of the blue, James Garner just walks in.
Just like that.
Just like that. Turns out he was in the UK filming Victoria.
Ah, right, with Julie Andrews.
Yeah. And get this, the place must have been buzzing. Henry Mancini was apparently working right next door in Studio 1.
Wow. Mancini and Garner in the same building.
With John Richards, the film recording engineer, working on the movie soundtrack too. Quite the creative hub.
That really sets the scene, doesn't it? The concentration of talent makes the meeting feel almost inevitable somehow.
So Denton's first impressions, pretty much what you'd expect. Commanding presence, charming, warm.
The full Hollywood star package.
But he also mentions Garner seemed genuinely interested in Gigi's recording session, like really paying attention.
That's a nice detail.
Yeah.
Suggests he wasn't just, popping in to say hello. He was actually invested as a dad.
Yeah, it feels like a real family connection, not just a celebrity appearance.
Did Denton elaborate much on their dynamic, Gigi and James?
Not loads, but stressing that genuine interest says quite a bit, I think. Then things get a bit awkward.
Mm.
Gigi gets into some kind of disagreement with Albert, the studio security guard.
Okay, bit of drama.
And this is where you really see Garner's style. He doesn't jump in, doesn't take sides immediately.
What does he do?
He just calmly asks Gigi to explain the whole thing, like step by step, reasons with her. Until apparently she realized, maybe she'd overstepped and she actually apologized to the guard.
That's interesting. Very methodical. He didn't just pull the I'm James Garner card.
Sure, no.
He wanted to understand it, guide her to a resolution. Shows
Yeah.
a lot of, level-headedness.
Yeah.
Respect for everyone involved.
Totally. And then right after that comes this genuinely funny moment. Involves Denton's tape assistant, Mark Phillips.
Okay.
This guy, Mark, somehow confuses James Garner with Rock Hudson.
Oh, wow. Awkward.
Gets better. He then gives Garner his spontaneous impression of a real star, puts his collar up, mirrored sunglasses, the whole bit, right in front of him.
No way. It takes some nerve. Or maybe just cluelessness.
Maybe a bit of both. But the key thing is Garner's reaction. How does this huge star respond to being mistaken for another huge star and then getting this slightly bizarre impersonation?
Yeah, I'm curious. A lot of egos might have bruised easily there.
Right. But Garner just sort of plays along, looks at his reflection in Mark's sunglasses and deadpans. Yep, you're right. I guess that's what a real star does look like.
Aha. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Denton makes a point of saying how different that was from the kind of fragile egos you often bumped into.
That self-deprecating humor says a lot, doesn't it?
Sure.
Suggests he was pretty comfortable in his own skin. No need to, put on airs.
Exactly, just grounded. So, okay, the session finishes early. Garner sees Denton standing alone and just casually asks him if he wants to grab a drink.
Nice gesture.
And this is where the arcade game story comes full circle. Denton insists, absolutely insists, on buying the first round.
Because of the jackpot.
Because of the jackpot. He tells Garner this whole story from years back. Hitchhiking in Southend-on-Sea, totally broke. Finds this movie star arcade machine, figures out the pattern. Ava Gardner pays out 10p every 5 minutes.
And then Garner hits for 12p right after.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Denton saw the sequence, took the gamble, and won just enough for breakfast and a bus fare.
That's such a great little story. Resourceful. And the fact that Garner was the jackpot. It's almost unbelievable.
So how did Garner react when Denton confessed all this?
Yeah. What did he say?
Apparently, he just laughed and said, "What, looks like the rest of the night's on you."
Perfect. Just rolls with it. Appreciates the sheer randomness of it all.
Exactly. It shows he could take a joke, enjoy a weird story. Then the conversation apparently flowed pretty easily.
What did they talk about?
Movies, naturally. Denton loved Skin Game. Garner said he'd actually just rewatched it recently.
Oh, cool connection.
Then they get on to music. Denton mentions he's a big country fan. And Garner just casually says, "Oh yeah, Waylon Jennings is one of my best friends."
Wow. Just drops that in there.
And then offers to call him right there from the bar.
Get out. Call Waylon Jennings.
Offers to put Denton on the phone with him.
That's incredible access and generosity. What did Denton do?
He was completely stunned. And he admits he totally blew it, said he wouldn't have a clue what to say to Waylon Jennings.
Oh, man. A classic what-if moment.
Totally. He regretted it later,
Okay.
obviously.
It's very human, though, isn't it?
Huh.
Sometimes those moments are just too big, too unexpected. But it really shows Garner's character again, willing to share his world like that.
And that generosity continued, apparently. Later on, Garner actually recommended Denton to Blake Edwards.
Blake Edwards for Victor Victoria.
For the music recordings on Victor Victoria, yeah. Which was a pretty big deal because there was already an engineer, John Richards, working on it.
Right, that could have been tricky territory professionally.
Yeah, but Denton says he handled it carefully, made sure Richards knew he respected his role, was ready to step back if needed. It all worked out, but the recommendation itself.
That's a significant endorsement. Garner putting his name out there for Denton. He must have genuinely liked the guy and respected his work.
Seems like it. Looking back, Denton just sums Garner up as one of the most genuine and genuinely nice people he ever met in the whole business. High praise, considering the industry.
Definitely sounds like it.
And he ends with this funny little regret. He wishes he'd had the nerve to ask Garner to record his answering machine message.
As Jim Rockford.
As Jim Rockford, "Hi, this is Jim Rockford at the beep. Can you imagine having that on your machine?"
Oh, that would have been legendary. Absolutely perfect. It sort of encapsulates that blend of the iconic character and the seemingly very real, down-to-earth person Denton met.
So, when you boil it all down, what are the main things that stick with you from this?
Well, it really paints Garner as remarkably unassuming for such a huge star.
Yeah.
That ability to handle awkwardness with humor, the methodical way he dealt with that dispute, the sheer kindness.
Yeah, the kindness and the respect he showed everyone. And the humor, definitely. It's a great reminder that, sometimes these chance meetings tell you more than any official biography ever could.
And how a tiny event like that rigged arcade game can just echo down the years in the most unexpected way.
It challenges those stereotypes of Hollywood ego, doesn't it? Shows the impact of just being, well, decent. Which kind of leads us to our final thought for you listening. Think about those maybe seemingly small interactions you've had. The unexpected connections.
Yeah, who in your own life maybe surprised you by just being genuinely themselves, despite maybe having a certain status or reputation?
Or maybe think about an event in your past that seemed insignificant at the time. Could it have ripples you haven't even realized yet?
It's definitely worth pondering those quieter moments. You just never know what connections they might build, do you?